Yo, what's up, everybody? Your boy JC. Everyday Thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. How's everybody doing tonight? Tonight's topic is stop self-sabotaging your relationships. Special guest from me tonight is Jocelyn Wells. So everybody gather around. Should be a good one tonight, as always. Hey, what's going on? Hold on, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't. Hold on.
No, you're good now.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Great.
Yeah. What's going on?
Oh, good. Good. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. So we're gonna talk about today is not to self-sabotage your relationship. For you, what are some ways that you see people self sabotaging their relationship?
I think it's more people. I think it's more people kind of self-sabotaging themselves. So I think it's their own. They're their own saboteur. It's not necessarily the relationship. I think they already have an issue with how they see each other. If it's a low self-esteem, or if they're unhappy, or they have baggage from past relationships, and they bring that into other relationships. And it's easier to tear a relationship apart than to wait for it to fall apart on its own. To stop, you want to get to the disappointment before the disappointment gets you. So,
Yeah, and also too, you're overthinking, you're thinking, a lot about your past experiences, whether there been a lot of failures, and you keep thinking that, oh, well, if I say this, if I do this, then it's gonna repeat the same result. So, and also too, just not trusting your partner.
right. And, that has a lot to do with trusting, yourself. I think I spend a lot of time trying to figure out why people, well, first it was me. Why did I end up in situations? And for me, it's because I didn't know me and I didn't have a good relationship with myself. And it's difficult to have a relationship with someone you don't even know yourself. Like we said the last time that we talked, I think the key thing is being completely honest about who you are. And a lot of people aren't comfortable being honest about who they are going into a relationship with a man or woman. If they, even with their friends, there's a facade that's put on and they're not comfortable being themselves. So when you have that, you don't know you're being true to yourself or not, because you just don't know. And you can't be true to somebody else either when you're being
Yeah.
fake.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's all about being honest with yourself first. You can't expect
Hmm.
someone else to be honest if you're not honest with yourself first. That's why it's always be, attention of what you want. First and foremost, like I said, you want to settle down, you want a relationship, you want to, play the field. You got to know what's best for you and find that
Right.
person that, like I said, is similar core values.
Yep. And you're absolutely right. If you aren't interested in being in a relationship, then at no point should you pretend to be that you want to just to get what you want from somebody. And, it's hard. People have a difficult time being honest. Men don't want to hurt women that they're involved with, like, well, I can't do this because I'll hurt her. I can't tell her the truth because, and that just adds to baggage later. And those are the same issues that end up in the next relationship. So that's how you end up with the self-sabotaging. That's how you end up in those relationships, hurting and trying to do something different just because you're carrying that baggage from before.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, men and women, they both have baggages. It's either you're gonna have a carry on, or you're gonna have a big a big oversized
Uh,
bag, headed to the airport. I
right.
got that from Mario. He's what he was saying when we talk about baggage, but you
Yeah.
know, like I said, each person has baggage. Anybody that tries to think they're perfect or they don't have no kind of flaws, that's kind of BS. You gotta, be honest with what you lack, and always have to have give yourself a self assessment of what I need to work on before I need to get to another relationship, because I could end up damaging that person if I'm not here, bro.
Right. You're right.
That's why I
And
always, oh no,
mhm.
go on.
What you saying? That's why what?
That's why I say you gotta enjoy your season when you're single, because when you're when you're singing, that's when you gotta like really prepare, focus on yourself, get yourself together, and that way you can be a blessing instead of a stress on someone else. You know.
Right. The analogy about the baggage is a good one, and I can appreciate that because we always hold on to so much crap from even our childhood, not even just adult relationships, but even our childhood. And at some point, to be able to travel lighter, in a sense, you have to be able to unpack that baggage. You've got to go look at the damaging things that happened to you. You have to be honest about the damaging things, the people who damaged you, whether you want to talk to them about it or not. The more of this stuff you carry around in your life, you're not going to be good for anybody. It doesn't matter how hard you try because you're going to have these little damaged things to continue to show up because you have to address them. That's the only way that we can be free. That's the only way that we can move and be a blessing to someone in a relationship. I dated a guy one time who told me, he said, I'm having a hard time trying to love you because you've got all this baggage and I'm having to try to help you carry it. And that was true. And but I didn't want to believe that. I just wanted to be as I was. I didn't want to look at my life to see the things that hurt me. And that's what I would advise anybody to just start unpacking it each little piece at a time. And if it was good, it was good. If it was yucky, say it was yucky, keep it moving. But you'll always sabotage, you'll always self sabotage in anything if you don't clear your crap out. You don't even do it on purpose, you just do it.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, you always gotta look at, just some of the mistakes that you made. I mean, because a lot of times we like to point the finger, oh, well, this my ex did that, my ex did that, but you know, you have to kind of see what did you do, because
Hmm.
there's always two sides of what happened, and if you're not honest with your part that you need to clean up with, then you're really just telling a false tale.
Right. I said on my Joy Exposed show last Wednesday, no, not Wednesday before last, I was talking about just some things that had happened and uh, manipulation and mental abuse. And I was saying how when I got divorced, I wanted to blame my ex-husband so bad for what he did to me. But that got me nowhere. It just had me spinning in a space of nothing because there's no gain to that. But I started trying to figure out, instead of what he did to me, what was it about me that allowed it to happen? So it put the reflection, I had to reflect on me. What was it about me to allow these behaviors? What made me subject to these behaviors? Because there had to be something that said this is okay, and I let it happen, so it had to be something. So once I started looking at myself, I started looking at other people in my life, adult people who manipulated me, who lied to me, mental abuse, emotional abuse, and it went back to my childhood. So I didn't, and that was news flash for me because I had to literally look at those behaviors of adult people in my life that did things to me as a child, which made me conditioned to receive the crap from my ex-husband. It wasn't his fault. He was who he was. It was on me because I allowed it to happen. There was something in me that was conditioned. Now, could I go and blame people? Of course, but that doesn't get me anywhere. What I had to do is to look at the situation and to see that it was a problem and forgive myself for being in those damaging relationships and forgive the people for being in there or bringing me in it. But then I had to learn how to not receive that stuff anymore. If it didn't feel good, it didn't feel good. And I don't have a problem saying that something doesn't feel good or it sucks and I need to get out of it. I don't just stay in relationships now.
Yeah, and also
So,
too, when you talk about, people talk about choose better, but a lot of times that could be misguided because a lot of times you don't know better. Some people don't know better. Some people are so used to being in dysfunctional relationship that they feel like it's normal. Like a man, beating up on you, hitting on you, being verbally, emotionally abusive, that it's just normally. Then when you do find someone that do cherish you, that do want to give you the world, you push back from him or her because you're so used to the dysfunction, or you think that what you receive before that was actual love. So you always have to be
right.
cautious of that too. When you have to be a little cautious when you say people to choose better because you don't really know the full gist of everybody's situation and circumstances.
Right. And I mean, but when you get to a certain level of self-awareness, when you know yourself, you already know when people enter your space that you don't want to have anything to do with them. When you're not aware of who you are and you're thinking, I'm supposed to help him or I'm supposed to help her, because that's a misguided sense that we take into relationships that somebody's supposed to come and suck the life out of us and we're supposed to take it. People do that. Like people, we have this thought that we're supposed to hold this person down or put our life on hold to project them to a space. You can do that with your husband, but you don't do that with just anybody. You don't let anybody take enough from you that you're now stuck. And you would have people talk about how I gave so much and I did this and he did this to me and she did this. And yeah, because that's all they wanted was to take from you. But when you get to a level of self-awareness, you know what that feels like. And you know the people that are good for you and the people that aren't good for you. And it's easy to walk away from situations that you know aren't going to be good. But you got to know
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. Like I said, it all comes down to you loving yourself, knowing yourself. What I'm saying, having your own standard, your own guideline, your own principles. So you got to understand what works for you, what doesn't work for you. After a
Yeah.
certain time, okay, this is not working out. It's not adding up. Then I need to, make some changes. Like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And just try to assess the two, so you can
Hmm.
try to get a common medium.
Yep. And be bold with your protection of yourself. To be bold to say, no, this isn't good for me. And not to waver from it. Because if you know it's not good, it's not good. Like, I mean, to me, it seems so simple now. It wasn't, but it does now. It seems simple now, but it wasn't at the time. But when you want to protect yourself from somebody's crap, you protect yourself. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm out. And
Yeah,
people are afraid of that.
yeah. You feel like you're loving somebody, or you're doing more for another person, and they're not really reciprocating it back towards you. Then you're in the wrong situation.
Yep.
And like I said, you are constantly putting your heart out. To people, and they not reciprocating it. Then right then and there, and you need to leave. But sometimes situations like men and women, they'll sit up there, they'll continue to be in this type of situations, hoping and praying that stuff will get better. But deep down there, it's not gonna get better. Wasting your time
Oh,
and
no,
energy. But
you're right.
you just trying to put that false hope out in the universe, like, oh, I hope this person gonna change and be the person I want
Wah,
him or her
wah,
to be.
wah, wah. Look, wah,
But at the
wah, wah,
same time,
wah.
though, that person got to make a conscious decision of, do I want to be with this person? Do I want to make the changes? Not really for the individual, not for the person, but for him or herself.
Right. But the thing and the key to that is we look at people and want them to change. They may be fine with who they are. So that's a very selfish hope that you're putting out there. You're hoping that they become something for you instead of them just being who they are. That's a key. If you accept people as they are, then that's how you accept them. For you to think that you have been given enough insight on another person to will changes in their lives, why would God do that? Why would God give me more information about you than you have for yourself? It doesn't work like that. So us wanting somebody to change is purely selfish. It has nothing to do with them. We want to do it. We want them to do it for us. So it's not fair to project that on somebody else. And we're humans. We have very little insight on the inner workings of another person. Like only what we see, the snapshot of this moment. The snapshot is what we see in that time period. We don't know what the childhood was like. We don't know what the parents' childhood was like, how the kid was raised, who lived in the house with him. We don't know the intricacies of those details, but we want to take our minimal thought, what we see about them, and try to change them. That's selfish. And no, and you can't put that on anybody. No.
Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
really that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's honest, and we want to not believe them. We want We want to be like, oh, they didn't mean that. Yes, the hell they did mean it. Yes.
Now you see that you looking at life through rose colored glasses. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, well, that and shame on you because you're going to be the one to suffer with that. You can look at anything you want, but you look at a human as they are, as they present themselves, and that's how you show. That's how you respect someone when you take them as they are. And you want to show your butt and go out and fight or cheat or whatever it is that you do you. But it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not fighting about it. I'm not arguing about it. I'm not waiting for it to change. Peace, I'm out of here. That's not something I want in my life. So I don't have to have a conversation about that. I'm not having a conversation about it.
Nah.
Yeah. Mm-mm. So I think about the guy that I'm dating. If he chose to date other people, that's his choice to date other people. We're single. He's a grown up. If he chose to date somebody else or be with somebody else, he can do that all that he wants. The understanding for me is I can do what I want. So that means if it's not something that I'm fine with, then I can leave the relationship. That's on me. That ain't on him. I ain't asking no questions about it because I don't care about it. I'm not, well, why her and why this and da 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 da. And you lied and that. I ain't going through all of that. Bye. That's what you want to do. Go for it. And that's what we have to understand that because people have this thought that they're supposed to stay and take it. My thought is if you're standing in place taking somebody's crap, you're not going down your path to be your purpose. So you're literally wasting time. For what? For what? For the hopes that somebody changes enough that they can love you? Nah, it's a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste of time, energy, and like I said, people just gotta be real what they want. And like I said, you don't see no kind of future, then you gotta know when to let go and let that person be there in their life. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't take long. It takes a little while to find out how interested someone is in dating and how if they're really trying to move forward into a relationship. Because when men put themselves out there to be in a relationship, they're in it wholeheartedly because that's a big decision. But the ducking and dodging and lying and playing and all that's child's play, and
Oh yeah,
women don't have to take it.
yeah, like anything a man loves, like you said, he loves the sports, he loves his video games, he loves any kind of musical, he's gonna go hard at it. But the same thing go with a woman if he really interested in her.
Right. We had a post on a Facebook group, and they were saying the women were talking about what they need as a man to be consistent. And it's so funny because my question was consistent with what? And nobody could answer consistent with what. That's just the word that's throwing out there. Like he needs to be consistent. And I'm like, well, first of all, if it's something a man wants, he is consistent. There, you don't have to ask a man for consistency if it's something he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's going to be consistent, right? So I'm like, you don't, that's not a thing that you even have to ask for. But I think women are, well, people, I won't say just say women, but I think people are desperately trying to be in relationships and they're looking for the key ingredients to make it work. The key ingredient to making it work is that both people want to be in a relationship. Both people want to be in a relationship. That's what makes the relationship work. When one person is in it and they're running, scheming, gaming, or cunning, trying to get somebody to do something they want, then of course it's gonna fail. I'm trying to manipulate you. Why would you stay in a relationship with me and I'm manipulating you? How is that beneficial to you? Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Like I said, you don't have to sit there and wonder and cry yourself to sleep. Does this person love me? Does this man care about me? And vice versa. Like you'll see the signs, and you'll generally feel y'all connecting. Or if y'all don't feel that kind of connection, then y'all disconnected. Y'all need to go different ways, or have a conversation. You know.
Right. You're right. And so I think, that's when there's so much about yourself and my show on Wednesday nights, I talk about it and talk about it in my blog. This is stuff that I talk about all the time because everything is directed at self. Self. Like it doesn't, if you're unhappy in a situation, look at yourself before you go and say, you such and such, you this, you look at yourself. Because even if somebody goes along your list of wants and check them off, there's still some more wants that you would like. No one is responsible for your happiness. That's on you. So I just think that people need to spend their time kind of figuring out what is it about me, what is it about me that makes me me, and be comfortable enough to go in there, walk with that without trying to change up or get somebody to change to satisfy them. This is really exhausting.
Oh yeah, like I said, you gotta know what you want, and like I said, you gotta sit there and change, and uh, you gotta pull somebody's foot and leg to spend time with you, and I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's just best just to leave,
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't want to hear that because because in your mind you're like, for I know for women, oh my God, he's great and he's this, and we have all of these things that we see, and I chalk that up to women have a lot of maternal instinct, and we are able to birth so many different energies and in our children, so we can look at people and see goodness in them. That's an innate gift that we have, but that doesn't mean that this person is going to become what we see because we see it. It may not be where they are or that they're trying to get there. But so when it comes to a adult man and male and female relationship, you're literally looking at two people who are comfortable with who they are, and they're respectful of the other person being who they are and being in a relationship together without the forcing a change or without the trying to make them different. What you get is what you get. And if it's not good for you, then walk away from it. Walk away from it. I mean, I have several things that I love. I love to travel. I love to read. I love to talk. Um,
know.
I love to make money. Like I have several things that I love, and I know that if I'm dating somebody that has a problem with any of the things that I love, then that's not a person that I need to be with. I mean, sorry, it's not. I mean, I don't mind traveling by myself. I don't mind doing stuff by myself. And so if it's a person and they don't want to travel, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably not going to date them. If they don't travel, if they're afraid to fly, or they don't cruise, or they don't. If somebody doesn't, I would be like, oh no, I can't date them because I'm not having a conversation of why I'm doing something, because that's what they'll say. Well, why you got to do that? Why can't we do such and such? It'll be me changing to fit the fact that they've chosen not to do something. So I know that. I'm not, and I've had people say, well, why don't you just work with them and maybe they'll fly? I ain't got time for that. I'm not doing that.
Oh no, I ain't got time for all that.
Yeah, see, but you know, right? But there are also people who love to travel who found themselves in relationships with people who don't fly, with people who won't go on a cruise, who don't want to go 2 hours more in the car from where they live. And they're in a relationship and they complain about it. Well, we can't do that. You know, he don't fly. What? He ain't got to drive the plane. Like he ain't got to fly the plane. He's got to be a passenger. But people get into those, what do you call them, unequally yoked relationships. And then, but they're always going to be unequal. Somebody's going to stop doing something they love for the other person. And that's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, I mean, you're not gonna like everything your spouse likes to do, but at the same time, though, I
Mm-mm.
mean, you gotta have your own negotiables, your non-negotiable, what you're going to put up with, what you're not gonna put up with, and
Right.
like I said, what you can live with that, what you can't live with, and like I said, only you know what's best for yourself, your own lifestyle.
Yep. And that's why I was saying that people have to be respectful of each other as they are. Like literally, you have to be respectful as they are, without trying to make those changes. Because if I'm trying to change you, I'm literally telling you I think I'm better than you. I think what I see for you is better for you than what you see for you. Now, how does that sound?
Don't sound too.
It sound crazy, don't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's crazy. So no, yeah. I think, but the focus should always be on yourself, getting to know yourself, understanding why you are who you are, and staying steadfast in staying steadfast in who you are, continuing to grow, move down your path. I mean, that's it. Like to me, that's the key to it right there. Getting to your purpose. If you get into your purpose and you meet some good people along the way, you're having a hell of a life.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, in closing, last little point, we really self sabotage. Somebody may love you, you may think that okay, well, this person don't love me, or I've been hearing other people's voices, but this person really has good intentions for you. A lot of times, you won't listen to that person. You won't listen to everybody else around you, and you lose that trust from that your intimate partner because you listen to everybody around you, what you shouldn't do instead of focusing on your partner or your mate.
Well, good for the person who loves them, and they have somebody who's immature and not self-aware that they're listening to people outside of the relationship. Good for that person. Get rid of them. I would advise them not to even be in a relationship with them. I'm not competing inside of my relationship with people outside of my relationship. If you have more influence in my relationship than I do, I need to get the hell out of that relationship. Waste the
Yeah.
time, waste the energy. I'm not doing it. I'm serious. No, and it's hard enough being in a relationship. But then you've got outside people commenting. Like, what insight do they have on the relationship? What insight do they have other than what one of the people have said? And what professional experience do they have in counseling? Like, what's their experience that they're going to give advice inside of my relationship? Nope.
Yeah.
If I was dating somebody and they came in, my boy said such and such, I'll be like, bye. See you later. You and your boy have a good life. I'm out. That's dumb. I'm sorry. It's dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my opinion. And relationships require a lot of trust, intimacy, sharing of personal information. And if an outside influence is making you have a conversation, get out of it.
But yeah, though, I gotta wrap it up though. Appreciate you
No
joining
worries.
me.
All right. Well, my show is on Wednesday night. I do it on Facebook Live. It's called Joy Exposed at 9 o'clock. And you can download any of the episodes on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And my blog is at joycelynwells.com. So there's a lot going on. Everything's at joycelynwells.com. So, but Jonathan, thank you for having me again. I look forward to chatting another time.
All right. Until next time. All right,
All
you have
right.
a blessed. All right.
Good night. Bye bye.
All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure y'all check me out. Every Thought JC. Till next time, any kind of debate discussion. Just let me know and we can debate, discuss. Until next time, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure I share this video.